Audio test, testing 1, 2, 3. Audio test, testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, July 19, 2023. We have a relatively long agenda, but it may go rather fast. Item number 1 will be presented by Patrick Schmidt. Item 2, Joseph Rue. Item 3, Kevin Ho. Item 4, Brian Ramirez. Items 5 and 6, Alan Tran. Item 7, Willis Huffman. Item 8, Lance Oishi. 8, Lance, no. Alice Kim. Audrey. Item number 8, Audrey Netzawong. No presenter on item number 9. And item number 10, Uri Jimenez. For Bureau representatives that are on the line, Jay Wong, Sunny Patel, Alice Kim, Doug Walters, and George Espinola, thank you all for being here this morning. Just a quick audio check. If you can confirm that you can hear us through the Zoom application, that would be greatly appreciated. George, I'm going to select you. If you can just confirm.
Yes, Dr. Campos, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, and good morning to you, George.
Good morning.
Perfect. Now that we have confirmation that members of the public that can hear us on Zoom and also on council audio, we'll go ahead and take any members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application. My apologies. If you're here live in person at City Hall chambers, there are speaker cards located at the back end of the room. You can go ahead and complete those at this time and submit the speaker cards to myself. We'll add you to the queue for general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. Again, last call for members of the general public that are joining us through the Zoom application. If you'd like to provide general public comment or commentary, if you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon. See no hands raised. We did receive speaker cards under general public comment in 5 and 6 live here at City Hall. Vice President Villegas, we do have 3 commissioners in the room and we can establish quorum for you. I can go ahead and start the recording as well.
Thank you. Welcome everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works. Dr. Campos, if you could take roll call, please.
Absolutely. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum. It is 10:17 this morning. We have Vice President Villegas, Commissioners Corzine and Reyes. Vice President Villegas, you do have a quorum at this time.
Great. Thank you. Welcome everyone to we're halfway through the month. Can you believe that? July 19th to the Board of Public Works. All right. Why don't we get started with the general public comment. Dr. Campos, I think we have a speaker for general public comment, Mr. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. Sorry, I'm going to ruffle a few feathers. I really didn't have a chance to do this. This was presented to the Board of Public Works on June 28, 2023, this past June. And by going through this, it's pretty obvious nobody really went through this very well. This says Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, right here in bold letters on the top. This was from the Public Works agenda from 6/9/23. The Board of Public Works report relative to executing the memorandum of understanding with the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Authority. There is no transportation in this agenda item. So I'm wondering who reads this stuff. Now this project is about a regional connector connecting line A and E. That's not an and symbol. It's just not an and. It looks like an and, but it's not. And this transit project, I'm concerned about these transit projects. This is G line, BRT, but that's not a G. And right here it says surveying for grade. That's not a G. But over here, this says grants. That's a G. It's grants for G. But these two G's, they're not G's because they don't have a line going in. That's not a G. We're stealing public money. Metro is stealing money by the bucket load. And I'm just wondering why this project came here and isn't heard at Metropolitan Transportation Authority headquarters. I'm not blaming you, and I'm not criticizing you. I'm more concerned about nobody really looking at this stuff and saying, what the hell is going on? It's like the new normal. But it's not the new normal. It's worse than ever. These projects
2
go on
minutes.
forever. Thank you.
Vice President Villegas, that does clear the queue for general public comment. We can go ahead and close that section if you'd like.
Thank you. Yes, let's close general public comment, and we do not have any neighborhood council comments either, so we will close those. And moving on our agenda, then we will have an approval of the minutes for Wednesday, June 28th. I move that we approve those. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Dr. Campos, we have a motion by myself and a second by Commissioner Corsan. If you could please take a roll call.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on then to item number 1, and this is by the Bureau of Engineering, and just give me a second here. And this is in Council District 4, and this is construction order, Clark Contracting Corporation, emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structure construction service list, Sunset Plaza, 2057 emergency bulkhead project. Recommending that the board, number 1, approve a construction order for the Sunset Plaza Drive, 2057 emergency bulkhead project to Clark Construction Corporation in the amount of $1,050,397, and with a not to exceed limit of $1,312,997, including contingency. And number 2, authorize the president and 2 members of the board to execute the construction order after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. And with us for this item is Mr. Patrick Schmidt.
Good morning. Thank you. Patrick Schmidt, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. As you know, the Bureau of Engineering administers the emergency pre-qualified on-call list for structural geotechnical contractors. These services, this list is to provide urgent necessity and emergency construction services for public works projects. On February 25th, 2019, the board approved a list of 9 qualified contractors for the current on-call list. The contracts were executed on March 29, 2019, have a term of 5 years, and will expire on March 28, 2024. This board report is in regard to the emergency need to repair a portion of Sunset Plaza Drive, located in a residential hillside area approximately 3/4 of a mile south of the intersection of Lookout Mountain Avenue, Napian Way. Sunset Plaza Drive is a collection street and a main thoroughfare in the Hollywood Hills. At this location, the southeast side of the street was washed out as a result of the significant rainfall we had in January and February of 2023. The washout, which is approximately 26 feet in length, 8.5 feet in width, and 15 feet in depth, has removed lateral support from the edge of the roadway and caused the undermining of the roadway, which led to the collapse of the pavement in the area. So this project will benefit the public by repairing an immediate safety hazard and allow reopening of the road. The project will consist of the removal and disposal of the existing asphalt pavement, installation of a bulkhead to provide lateral support to the roadway, placement of fill materials within the roadway to fill the void, and reconstruct the pavement. The new bulkhead will be approximately 53 feet in length, approximately 16 feet tall, and will consist of 6 soldier piles with precast concrete lagging panels. On June 9, 2023, bids for the project were solicited from the contractors on the emergency on-call list. On June 22, 2023, 3 bids were received, of which Clark was the low bidder. Clark's bid in the amount of $1,050,397 was 26.23% above the city engineer's estimate of $832,130. Due to the emergency nature of this work and the safety hazard posed by the washout, a preliminary construction order was issued to Clark on June 28, 2023, in the amount of $300,000. This is within the city engineer's authority to quickly begin the procurement of construction materials for the project. Staff recommends that the board execute a construction order for the project with Clark in the amount of $1,050,397 with a not to exceed limit of $1,312,997, which includes contingency. And funding for the project in the amount of $1,312,997 is available in the Measure R Local Return Fund, Fund Number 51Q, Department Number 94, Appropriation Unit 94YM20. That concludes my presentation of this board report. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item? Commissioner Reyes?
This is more of a overarching question. We know that there will be more emergency projects of this nature because of the rains that we had in the past this year. How are we prioritizing those projects? And do we have the capacity and the bandwidth to deploy our resources and tackle those issues? Because that is a public safety hazard, number one. And number two, it behooves us to be more proactive and not have that issue that, the rolling hills, right? That problem that is now facing that community. So I'm just curious, from a management standpoint, what is the strategic approach and the plan that you have to address that type of an issue?
I'm going to try to answer your question. We've had about, I'm going to say, a half dozen emergency projects come from the storms in January, February, and March. The first two are on Mulholland Drive, which we responded to quickly. Those were high priority because Mulholland Drive was closed in two locations, and obviously it's a major thoroughfare for the city. We did additional projects on Creston Drive, Escondido Drive, and now we're on Sunset Plaza Drive. So this is the last of the streets that are closed. So with this project, when the completion of this project, we'll have all the streets reopened in the city. Going forward, we're trying to address them. We have staff. We have an excellent staff on the Hillside program that's addressing these projects, and we're getting all caught up. We're getting things done. We do have a big backlog. We have approximately 15 projects from the storms that are going to be put into our budget requests for fiscal year 24-25. So that'll be coming this fall. So we're addressing all of them. We're trying to wrap up all the paperwork for all the damage. We had staff looking at approximately 130 different sites throughout the city as a result of storm damage. We're finalizing reports for those, and then starting in August, we'll start scoring those. We go through a scoring process from a technical viewpoint. We score them, go through all the lists, and we submit our whole backlog list to the oversight committee that we report to. Our oversight committee consists of representatives from the mayor's office, the CAO, and CLA. So that's our process going forward. But the team's doing a good job. Like I said, this is the last of the streets that has a closed section that we'll address and then be ready to move forward. So
Thank you. That's good for our listening public to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Good questions. And thank you, Mr. Schmidt, also for answering that. Do we have any other questions? No. Do we have a motion to approve this item?
I move.
A second?
Second.
All right, Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Commissioner Corson. If you could please take roll.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Have a good day.
thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
All right, then let's move on to item number 2. And item number 2 is in Council District 11. And this is a street closure, 96th Street between Vicksburg and Airport Boulevard, Landside Access Modernization Program, LAMP. Recommending to the board that we approve the request for a full closure on 96th Street between Vicksburg Airport Boulevard from July 14th to March 15th, 2024, to facilitate the roadside construction of 96th Street. And before us, we have Joseph Roux.
Rue, that's correct. Okay.
The floor is yours.
Good morning, commissioners and members of the board. My name is Joseph Rue with the BOE LAMP Division. I'll give a brief report about the street closure on 96th Street from Vicksburg to Airport Boulevard. This is a closure that's been requested for the new construction of 96th Street, including new storm drains, utilities, and a roadway. 96th Street is not a major thoroughfare. A full closure is necessary for public safety and to minimize impacts to schedule. BOE has included an approved traffic control plan from LADOT. As part of this closure, 98th Street, which had a closure in effect, will reopen for detours. LAWA has concurrence from Council District 11 as well. The surrounding businesses have no impact on this closure. Even though the road closure does state July 14th, the contractor isn't going to close until July 23rd due to a minor construction delay. The Bureau of Engineering hereby requests to approve this road closure on 96th Street for 8 months. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item? I just have one minor question. The closure is already in place, is that correct?
No, it is not in place. There is a minor construction delay. It was supposed to start on July 14th. However, it will close this weekend, which is July 23rd.
Okay,
98th Street will be reopened on Friday, so
okay,
that'll be a detour.
all right. Dr. Campos, should we correct the motion? Should we correct the recommendation?
I believe so, yes.
So it should be from July 23rd?
July 23rd, yes.
Yeah, and to March 15th, is that the correct end date?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, so July 23rd, 2023 to March 15th, 2024.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't see any questions on this item. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved as amended.
I second.
All right. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Corson and a second by Commissioner Reyes as amended. If you could please take a roll call.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Again, this is as amended. Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith?
Oh, please, yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, moving on then to item number 3. All right, and this is by the Bureau of Sanitation, and this is in Council District 14. And this is a grant award, State Water Resources Control Board, Hollenbeck Park Lake Rehabilitation and Stormwater Management Project, recommending that the board, number 1, pursuant to the approval of Council File Number 221150, which instructs the Director of Sanitation or designee to report back and request the authority to accept the grant award and confirm that there is no, give me a second here, that there is no additional general fund fiscal impacts. A, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor and city council for the recommendations that the city council, subject to concurrence of the mayor, authorize the Director of Bureau of Sanitation or designee to accept a grant agreement number D22-18007 and submit all documents, including but not limited to agreements, amendments, and payment requests, etc., subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form which may be necessary to secure state-specified grant funds for the Hollenbeck Park Lake Rehabilitation and Stormwater Management Project from the State Water Resources Control Board. And B, request that the City Council, subject to concurrence of the mayor, waive the requirements to establish a separate interest-bearing fund specified in CF number 221150, since the Bureau of Sanitation is the direct grantee, and as this is not a pass-through grant. And two, recommend that the City Council, subject to the concurrence of the mayor, adopt the accompanying resolution needed to accept the funds from the State Water Resources Control Board. And before us, we have Mr. Kevin Ho. Hi.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My
Good
name is
morning.
Kevin Ho with LA Sanitation and Environment, and I'm here to present on the Hollenbeck Lake Park Rehabilitation Project, acceptance of the state earmark via grant agreement D221.
Can you speak into the mic?
Acceptance of the state earmark via grant agreement D2218007. So in 2022, Hollenbeck Park Lake Rehabilitation Project was submitted to Safe Clean Water Program to compete for round 4 funding. The total project cost is about $44.6 million. The breakdown of the project follows about $5 million in Proposition O bond funding, $7.4 million in municipal matching funds, $7 million in state earmark funding in fiscal year 22-23 approved budget, and the remaining about $25.1 million in Safe Clean Water regional funding dispersed over the next 5 years. The project goal for this project is to implement multi-benefit stormwater projects with the use of stormwater diversions, capture treatment structures, and Green Street network components upstream of the project to improve water quality and to provide stormwater supply to the lake. The project will improve flood management and flood risk mitigation. It will incorporate 2 diversion structures from a city and county storm drain to divert water into the lake, a subsurface storage and multi-benefit water quality unit, green air recirculation feature throughout the lake, 18 dry wells and shade trees upstream and throughout the park, and terrace ballast wells around the lake perimeter. On February 28th, the Upper LA River Watershed Area Steering Committee, WASC, of the LA County Safe Clean Water Program voted to recommend the Hollenbeck Park Lake project into the fiscal year 23-24 Watershed Investment Program. The Stormwater Investment Plan, SIP, will be considered in the LA County Board of Supervisors for final approval. So in this 5-year project, planning is expected to be completed in fiscal year 23-24, year 1 of the project. Design is expected to be completed in fiscal year 25-26, and construction is expected to be completed in about fiscal year 27-28, or year 5 of the project. So this board report is for approval for the resolution. After the board, this resolution will go to the Energy and Environment Committee for approval by the full city council. And this authorizing resolution is the last part of our application to work with the state to enter into a grant agreement so that we can start using the funds for the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item?
Yes. Is there an actual board report, or am I the only one on my computer who can't access a document?
I'm sorry,
Is
repeat.
there a board report? Because on the agenda, there is nothing to access. So I'm, like, all I have is the bullet points and what was presented. I don't know anything else about this item.
Commissioner Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, let me pull up the agenda just to see what's on the e-packet. It's
I have it here.
558 pages long, but let me just double check really quick.
Give me a second. I have it pulled up here. I mean, the board report is 2 pages. There's a lot of history on this project. And you wanted to see any other like submittals, any transmittals? There's a council file that's attached also. Were you briefed on this item?
I wasn't briefed, but if on the agenda, there's nothing to click on. There's no document.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling up the e-packet right now from our website, and it is starting on page 22. Commissioner, if you want to just go into the the Board of Public Works website.
I'm there.
You're there? Okay.
But-
If you could scroll
So
down.
I have to click on the PDF packet, not the HTML one.
Correct. The HTML is only the agenda. The e-packet will have 550
Okay.
pages with all the details.
But on the other agenda items, when you click the HTML one, it pulls up all of the other, if you go, for example, to item number 2, it pulls up all the other board reports. It's fine.
Let me try.
It's just
Duplicate that.
The report is not complete, I understand. I thought that there was going to be additional transmittals, and that's what I was looking for, and they're not there. I understand what you're saying. This project has considerable length of time that it's been taking place, and a lot of funding, different funding pots, as Mr. Ho alluded to, including the county funds, and these are obviously state funds. Would you happen to know the total cost of the project so you can provide additional context for edification for the commissioners so they can feel additional comfort on this project?
Yeah, the total project cost is 44.6 million. The LA County Safe Clean Water Regional Funds contributes 25.1 million. There's 5 million from Prop O bond funding, and 7 million from the state earmark funding, and the remaining 7.4 is municipal match.
Okay. Thank you for that. That is indeed what I asked, but I thought maybe perhaps you could give a little bit more information. Did you have any specific questions that you wanted to ask, or would you like to table this item?
We can move forward. It's fine.
Okay. All right. I will comment, though, that we would like additional information than the 2 pages that are included in our board report and the council file 1-pager that is included in here, just because this is such a important project, and it does have quite a history. So if you could include that as background information on transmittals, that would be fine. Or if you could provide a improved narrative in the future, that would be fine as well.
Okay, we will make sure to include the council file and authorize a resolution and email it over to you guys.
Okay, and just to speak into the mic next time. Thank you.
Great, thank
All
you.
right, we're not done yet, though. Let's just take a vote, please.
I
Oh, go right ahead.
Just one point of clarification. It has to go to city council for acceptance of the grant. And once you go to the agency to sort of like negotiate, right, and finalize, does it have to go back to city council or to our board? That's just a process that I need to clarify in my mind.
I will have Jennifer Kong help answer.
Okay.
Hi, good morning, Vice President and Commissioners. My name is Jennifer Kong. I'm with the Financial Management Division that will be overseeing this grant process. So after Council provided the resolution to complete our application process, we will have to come back to board to get to execute the grant agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. That wasn't as clear. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. All right, and I don't see any other questions. All right, do we have I will say that I'm really happy that sanitation was able to get $7 million from the state for this project, because it is important, and it's going to provide a significant benefit for the community, along with the bigger price tag for the overall project cost. All right, do we have a motion to approve this item?
So move.
And I'll second that. Dr. Campos, if you could please take roll.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's move on then to item number 4. And that is a tree removal, and that's located at, this is in Council District 5, and this is by the Bureau of Street Services, and it's a tree removal located at 10131 West National Boulevard, recommending that the board, number 1, find that the project as whole is categorically exempt to Section 15301C of the State Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and that there is no substantial evidence for the proposed project will have significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. Number 2, find that none of the exemptions to use the categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of State CEQA guidelines apply. Number 3, specify that the that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is a custodian of the documents or other material that constitutes the record proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 4, review and approve this tree removal permit request for the removal of 3 Mexican fan palms at 10131 West National Boulevard to allow the installation of sidewalk providing connectivity for pedestrians along the north side of National Boulevard, relevant to a Bureau of Engineering capital improvement project. Tree replacements are required. And before us, we have Mr. Brian Ramirez.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Honorable Board of Public Works. Again, my name is Brian Ramirez with the Streets LA Urban Forestry Division. I am presenting this item to request the Board of Public Works approval to remove 3 Mexican fan palms, Washingtonia robusta, for the installation of sidewalk relevant to a Bureau of Engineering capital improvement project, and tree replacements are required. The Bureau of Engineering's Street Improvement Division will construct approximately 455 linear feet of sidewalk, 12 foot wide on the north side of National Boulevard between Clarington Avenue and Jasmine Avenue within the Exposition Corridor Transit Neighborhood Plan. The proposed improvements will conflict with 3 existing palm trees growing directly in the footprint of the future sidewalk and improvements. The Bureau of Engineering's representatives submitted a tree removal permit application to Streets LA Urban Forestry Division for review. A Urban Forestry Division arborist inspected the subject site on April 27th, 2023 to verify and address potential impacts to any street trees within the project boundaries. The site inspection confirmed that a total of 3 palm trees growing in the public right-of-way will require removal. The 3 trees identified are on site are Mexican fan palm, Washingtonia robusta, measuring approximately 16 inches in diameter by 20 to 30 feet in height, growing along the north side of National Boulevard. All 3 trees are in good to fair condition, growing in an unimproved segment within the public right-of-way. The installation of sidewalk connecting pedestrian access from Clarington Avenue to Jasmine Avenue along the north side of National Boulevard will require the removal of these 3 existing palm trees. As it pertains to the alternatives considered, Streets LA does endeavor to retain healthy, mature street trees whenever possible and only consider removal after all alternatives for preservation have been explored. But due to this project's scope and the location of the trees, the possibility of tree preservation throughout construction is not feasible. Streets LA recommends approval for the removal of 3 palm trees to allow for the proposed site improvements. As it pertains to conditions, if this board approves, the applicant shall plant a total of 6 trees in accordance to the board's 2-to-1 replacement policy, meaning 6 24-inch box-sized desert willow trees shall be planted along the north side of National Boulevard. The tree selection is in accordance with the city street tree selection guide and found to be appropriate for future site conditions. All replacement trees planted on site shall be watered for a minimum 5-year period after planting. Speaking on CEQA, the Bureau of Engineering prepared a notice of exemption for the project, finding that the project is categorically exempt pursuant to Section 15301C of the State Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and there is no substantial evidence that the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with CEQA. None of the limitations set forth in CEQA guidelines 15300.2 apply. The project's notice of exemption was utilized in forming the recommendations in this report and is on file with Streets LA and available to the public upon request. As it pertains to notifications, the 5th Council District was informed of the tree removal request on May 11th, 2023, and was to notify Streets LA of any objections received by their office. Streets LA received no such objections to this day. Public comments on this tree removal request were to be received and heard during this scheduled public hearing at the board. In addition, these trees were physically posted with a notification on April 29th, 2023. Proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services street tree removal notification system. And in addition, the Community Forest Advisory Committee and Department of Neighborhood Empowerment were also notified. The applicant was also advised of the recommendations contained in this report. And this concludes my presentation before the board. I am available for any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item? I don't see any questions. Do we have a motion to approve this item? We have a second? Okay.
Second.
Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Corson and a second by Pro Tem Davis. If you can please take roll call.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and is adopted unanimously. Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, thank you. All right, for items 5 and 6, I'm going to read both of those in. And we have same staff that will be presenting on both items, Mr. Alan Tran. So I will read those in, and then we will take public comment on 5 and 6, and then Mr. Tran, you'll present. All right, so on item number 5, these are joint reports with Bureau of Sanitation and Contract Administration, and this affects all council districts. And this is a personal service contract, Denali Water Solutions, LLC, Management of Cities Biosolids. Number 1, recommending the board exercise the 3-year renewal option for the personal service contracts between the City of Los Angeles and Denali Water Solutions, LLC, for the management of the city's biosolids. All terms and conditions remain in effect. The total contract cost ceiling also remain unchanged at $27,003,246. And number 6 is also a personal service contract with Sinagro Technologies, Inc., doing business as Nursery Products, LLC, Management of Cities Biosolids, recommending that the board exercise the 3-year renewal option between the City of Los Angeles and Sinagro Technologies, doing business as Nursery Products, LLC, for the management of the city's biosolids. All terms and conditions remain in effect. The total contract cost ceiling also remains unchanged at $25,671,018. And we have Mr. Arnold Sachs, who will be speaking for public comment on items 5 and 6.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. It was a fascinating discussion on that last item. again, the devil's in the detail. It's like it's almost a new normal. But item 5 and 6, I just have some problem, a little bit of a question. First of all, the total contract for both of these two items is over $53 million. Item 5 refers to a personal services contract. Item 6 makes no reference to a personal service contract. I'm wondering about any kind of insurance. The city of Los Angeles just had 2 huge sewer spills from Hyperion Bay. They had another one from the outfall around Lomita. So that's 3 sewage spills totaling over 150 million gallons of sewage into the ocean. And I'm wondering, who has oversight of this? Is this the new normal? Are they taking the sewage up to Green Acres like they used to do? I know Green Acres was purchased by the Department of Public Works for the sewage to be spread over the property out there so they could use it as some kind of fertilizer. But with these 3 sewage spills in the last year due to the amount of rainfall, and the fact that item 5 refers to a personal services contract and item 6 does not make a reference to a personal service contract, and there's no reference to any kind of insurance or any kind of penalty that would be incurred because of I know they can't control the rain. I definitely know that. But it seems like there's nobody taking any sewage out of the Hyperion treatment plant anymore. I don't see any trucks taking any of the sewage up to the Northern California like they used to do. I don't know if they have a pipeline that goes all the way up from Hyperion treatment plant all the way up to Green Acres, as the farm is called in Northern California, which they purchased for the biosolids. So I'm just curious about who has oversight, who is in charge there. Is this just another new normal type of thing? I mean, it seems like there is really the public is getting screwed over here. I mean, because of these massive sewage spills, and nobody seems to be able to say, wait, we have a problem here. I know they rededicated that Hyperion treatment plant about 12 years ago. They did a whole lot of work, maybe 15 years ago. And I can't imagine that they would have done work 15 years ago and it would be so obsolete right now that they wouldn't be able to keep up with the number of people that have moved into California. I don't know if the population in the city of Los Angeles has increased or decreased. It seemed like there's an influx of people that have been brought in by certain people who said they were going to recruit from the East Coast instead of recruiting from out here on the West Coast, which is beyond belief that they would do that with the problems that we have in this city. And I cannot believe that would be happening. I mean, I'm not going to blame anybody, but it's obvious there's some problems. The roads are terrible. And this situation with these personal services contracts, I mean, I'd like to have commented on the last item, but that's old news. But it goes to the details. And if you carefully read some of these items, you'll see that there is a definite switch from Part A to Part B to Part C, and nobody seems to care. The secret guidelines are from 1970.
4 minutes.
That's 50 years old. And there haven't been no update of anything.
And please wrap up.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that does clear the queue for public comment on item number
5 and 6.
5 and 6.
Thank you. All right, then Mr. Tran, if you can present on these items, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Vice President Villegas, the Board Commissioner, the City Attorney Office, and Executive Officer. My name is Alan Tran with the LA Sanitation. Today we are here for the item number 5 and 6. Item number 5 is for Denali Water Solution Contract, and item number 6 is for Synagro Technology doing business as nursery product. As you know, both of the Denali Water Solution and Synagro Technology DBA nursery product was selected and awarded the contract with the City of LA for the biosoil management through the RFP process back in 2016. Both contract term is for 5 years with 3-year renewal option, and the contract were executed on August 21st, 2018. For the Denali Water Solution, their responsibility is to haul, transport, and land application of the city biosolid at the farm site in Riverside County and Arizona site. They're also responsible for hauling the biosolid from Hyperion treatment plant to Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant for Thai project. As for Synagro Technology, their responsibility is to haul, transport, and beneficial use of the city biosoil at their composting facility in Kern County and San Bernardino County. Currently, the Denali Water Solution is managing approximately 20% of the city biosolid, and Synagro is managing approximately 10% of the city biosolid. Since both of the contract, the first 5-year term will expire soon on August 20 this year, so we would like to request for your approval to exercise the 3-year renewal option contained in the existing contract. The scope of work and the contract ceiling costs remain the same. So with the 3-year renewal option, both contracts will extend until August 2026, and LSN will be able to continue using their service for the hauling and beneficial use. And the 3-year extension will give us time to prepare the RFP to establish a new contract by August 2026. The funding of both contracts will come from Sewer Construction, Maintenance, and Operation Fund, which is special funded. Therefore, there will be no impact on the general fund. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. All right, and did you want to, why don't we do 5 and then we'll go on to 6? Or did you do both?
Oh, we
just
can do
did-
both, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, then, Commissioners, do we have any questions?
Yeah, just some basic information
Go ahead.
questions. In terms of both of the vendors, we have used them both, the contractors, we've used them both for the last how many years?
We use them both for the last almost 5 years.
We've used them both for
Yes.
for both 5 years, and obviously we are satisfied with their performance thus far.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Do we anticipate moving forward as we contemplate accepting the additional 3 years? Do we contemplate that there will be any systematic changes in the way in which we use these particular vendors?
There will be no change, yeah.
And in terms of the locations where they are taking the biosolids, are these facilities that are affiliated with the vendors themselves that they are taking the biosolids to, or where and where are these locations in the relationship of those locations that you mentioned? I thought I heard you say Riverside, Kern County for one of the others. What is the relationship between the vendors and the locations to where we transport the biosolids?
Okay, so for Synagro Technology, we send the material to their composting facility. They own the facility and they operate the facility. And they have the facility in Kern County and San Bernardino County. As for the Denali Water Solution, they lease the farm in Riverside County, and they have the subcontractor to do the land application at the farm site.
In selecting both of these vendors, we selected them as compared to others that we considered because of their capacity to be able to facilitate the transportation of the biosolids to these facilities that you've just stated. Is that?
Yes, we select these two vendors because when they submit the proposal, they give us for Denali, they offer the lowest bid for land application option, and for Synagro Technology, they offer the lowest rate for the composting facility side. So we select both of them for us, so we have more available option.
Today, you're asking us to consider 3 additional years. After the 3 years, which I think you said will go to 2026, the plan from the Bureau is then to consider an additional contract moving forward after 2026, or have we gotten that far in our planning in terms of how we intend to manage biosolids in the future?
We have an RP in progress, and we will release the RP to establish a new contract by August 2026.
And what do you anticipate that contract, the terms will be? Will it be an additional 3 years, or will it be a 5-year contract?
The term will be 5 years plus 3 years, just like the previous, just like the current one right now.
So the motion before us today is a 3-year contract, and we feel that it will comfortably allow us to appropriately designate the terms and the conditions moving forward in 26. We needed this additional 3 years to kind of better measure and figure out how we need to move forward in providing this service. Why 3 years?
The next 3 years will give us time to complete the RP process and to select a new vendor for the future contract.
I see. And these 2 vendors who we are currently using will be eligible moving forward to compete in 2026 as well, given the fact that their performance is such that we would like to agree to use their services. They will not be excluded from competing in the future contract that we might be put together. Is that?
We give a fair opportunity for all the vendors, and these 2 can still resubmit or submit their proposal in the next RP.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
you. Commissioner Reyes?
And just for the public's education, what percentage of our total biosolids program do these 2 vendors provide in terms of percentage?
Okay, like I said, we produce about 750 tons from both Hyperion and Terminal Island. And at Fort Denali Water Solution, they manage about 20%, which equivalent to 160 wet ton per day. And for Synagro, they manage about 10% of the total 750. That equivalent to 75 wet ton per day.
And the majority still of our biosolids program still go to the Green Acres property?
Yes.
Okay, I just want that to be clear. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. I just wanted some clarification. The cost ceiling is not being adjusted, right? It's the same as it was when the contracts were issued 5 years ago?
No, the cost ceiling will remain the same.
What does that what does that mean? Is I'm trying to figure out. So, for example, if it was $27 million now, was it $27 million 5 years ago, and we're doing $27 million for 3 years, or
the total for 8 years
is $27 million?
27 million.
Okay. What is left from that portion then for the 3 years?
Right now, for both contract, for each contract, we spend about $8 million. So we still have a lot of funding.
Okay.
For the
So
contract.
we're not authorizing a new ceiling. We're just continuing the contract with the same ceiling. Correct?
No. The ceiling cost still remain the same.
Right. So we're extending the same contract with the same ceiling.
Yes.
Okay. And then in the board report, it mentioned there is no funding identified, I think, for item 6 for future years. Was that the case 5 years ago as well?
Can you repeat the question?
For item 6, when I go scroll down in the board report on funding,
Okay.
it says the status of funding has not been identified. I'm going to say it's on status of funding, the one for 25.6 million, funds and appropriations for future fiscal years are not yet identified, and existing appropriations may change.
The ceiling cost will not change, and we already have that funding set aside for this contract.
Okay.
I think perhaps Commissioner Corson is asking if there's going to be any changes, because it seems that the report says that there's some,
Lack of funding.
yeah.
There will be no change on the funding.
There will be no change. And I think that or actually, Dr. Campos, you can correct me if I'm wrong, on our recommendation, it also provides a unchanged amount for both 5 and 6. So it remains also, the recommendation to the board is to exercise the 3-year renewal option between City of Los Angeles and Sinagro Technologies doing business as Nursery Products for the management of the city's biosolids. All terms and conditions remain in effect. The total contract ceiling also remains unchanged at $25,671,018.
I guess it's unclear what that means. I can't tell just reading that if it and with the presentation if it meant we're carrying over the funding ceiling, or we're authorizing, for example, on number 5, 27
I think
million.
we carry over.
Right. But when it says remains unchanged, it seems like that was the previous ceiling, and now we're having the same ceiling for the 3 years.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that it's, in your interpretation, you're saying another 25 million.
Right.
Got it.
No,
Right.
there are no additional 25.
Okay. Dr. Campos, is there any language that we can provide for clarification? We were already planning on doing an amendment to both 5 and 6 for a second directive, but is there anything that we can provide for Directive 1?
Yeah, recommendation that your board could consider on recommendation 1 is to replace the last sentence in each of the recommendations, and that is to make it very clear that the total contract cost ceiling remains the same. So in other words, there is no changes to the $27 million. I don't know if the $27 million is what's causing the confusion or prompting the question, but if you want to be very clear that the contract ceiling remains the same, it's unchanged,
Okay.
then you can just do not include the dollar amount so that it's very clear that the total contract ceiling remains the same or remains as originally approved. That would be one recommendation. The other recommendation of Vice President Villegas, as you alluded to, there will be a friendly recommendation to your board to consider to add a new recommendation on items 5 and 6 as follows, and that is to authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the renewal option. The reason why we're making that recommendation is on term 7 or clause 7 of the contract that your board approved 5 years ago, it does recommend and require the director of sanitation to notify your board, but it remains absent or there is no clear delegation of authority whether the director can approve that renewal option. So therefore, this item is now before you, not only for notification, but also for approval purposes, and to make it very clear that the board will execute that renewal option, if your board approves it, of course, and that is to add a new recommendation authorizing the president or 2 members of the board to execute the renewal option.
Okay. Thank you. Is that clear, Commissioner Corson? How does that feel? It's fine? Okay. We aim to, as a public body, we're aimed to be able to have as much transparency on here as possible, and sometimes changing, the recommendation so that it is clear and consistent with the 2018 contracts that were originally signed to be the same.
Understood.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so before we make a motion to approve this item, why don't we do item 5 first, Dr. Campos? And I'll read that in, and then we will take a vote, and then I'll do item 6, since we've already had the presentation for both.
That works. Thank you.
Okay, so for item 5, we have a recommendation to exercise the 3-year renewal option for personal service contract between the City of Los Angeles and Denali Water Solutions LLC for the management of the city's biosolids. All terms and conditions remain in effect. The total contract ceiling also remains the same, period. And recommendation number 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the renewal option, period. Those are the recommendations, Dr. Campos, and if we have a motion to approve those items?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes. And Dr. Campos, if you can take a roll call, please.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. And again, this is a motion to approve item number 5 as amended, as read into the record. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to consider item number 5 to move forward forthwith?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and second, and this is also a personal service contract with Sinagro Technologies, Inc., doing business as Nursery Products, LLC, management of the city's biosolids. And I will read this one in as well. And this is an exercise of the 3-year renewal option between the City of Los Angeles and Sinagro Technologies, doing business as Nursery Products, LLC, for the management of the city's biosolids. All terms and conditions remain in effect. The total contract ceiling also remains the same. And recommendation number 2 is authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the renewal option. Do we have a motion to approve item number 6?
Second.
All right. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Dr. Davis to approve as amended. If you can please take a roll call.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tran.
Thank you so much.
All right. Then let's move on to item number 7, and this is a joint report by the Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Sanitation. And this is a contract award and construction budget to Mike Perlich and Sons Incorporated, on-call emergency sewer and storm drain repairs, emergency sewer repair, 23rd Street, 400 block project. And this is recommending that the board, number 1, authorize a construction budget for in the cost of $3,368,934, including contingency for the emergency sewer repair, 23rd Street, 400 block project. Number 2, authorize the city engineer to award this project to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Mike Perlich and Sons Incorporated, in compliance with established procedures on the on-call emergency sewer and storm drain repairs contract. And number 3, authorize the city engineer to issue construction orders and revise construction orders up to the authorized construction budget for this project to Mike Perlich and Sons. And before us, we have Mr. Willis Huffman. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Willis Huffman, Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. This board report is to authorize construction budget of $3,368,934, including contingency for ESR 23rd Street project, and award it to the lowest responsible bidder, Mike Perlich and Sons, on the emergency sewer and storm drain repairs contract. This sewer is a 57-inch semi-elliptical concrete pipeline with bricks located in Council District 9 on 23rd Street between Maple Avenue and Trinity Street. In November of 2021, the Bureau of Engineering obtained a CCTV of the sewer, which showed increased deterioration of the brick lining when compared to CCTV from 2019. The assessment of this deterioration did not show an immediate failure, which allowed BOE to complete a slip lining design and advertise the project using the on-call emergency contract for competitive bids. BOE also assessed the line in January 2023, confirming continued deterioration but no signs of immediate failure. The scope of work consists of rehabbing about 600 linear feet of the existing 57-inch pipe by slip lining with the reinforced polymer mortar pipe. This existing pipe was originally constructed in 1926. Request for proposal was sent to the top 5 contractors on the emergency contract. December 19, 2022, we received bids from Mike Perlich and Sons, Ramona Inc., Clark Contracting Corp., Tomovich and Associates, and Williams Pipeline Contractors. Mike Perlich and Sons, they were the lowest bidder. They came in at $2,922,667. With contingency of $446,267, brought the construction budget to $3,368,934. The contingency is slightly higher than usual due to the discovery of 4 additional house connections that were found after we received bids, so they will be added as extra work to the project. This project will have no impact to the general fund and will not exceed the $3,368,934, and funding will be budgeted within the sewer construction and maintenance fund. This concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Do we have any questions on this item?
Yeah, could you restate for me, you mentioned that there was something that had been added to the contract. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, so 4 additional house connections were added, and we didn't notice those at the time of bid. And as reviewing the CCTV that we gathered in 2023, we noticed those, and then, you know, we needed to add those as additional scope of work to the project.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just have a minor question, just the communication to this community, how is that done?
It's done through community outreach team. So we've already started that process, and they begin that outreach with the community. It's mainly a residential street. There is one market, small convenience store located along that street, but it is a short reach along 23rd Street in between Trinity and Maple.
Okay. And then the I guess the connections for those 4 houses, will their water be turned off for the day?
Oh, the house connection? No, we can do that work, you know, while the water is on. We may ask them to, within a certain time frame, to limit use on certain things like washing and things of that nature. But it's a limited use. But a lot of times they can do the work even in the wet.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Do we have any other questions, commissioners? No? All right. Do we have a motion to approve this item?
I second.
All right. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes. If you can please take roll call.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Thank
Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right. Let's move on then to item number 8. And this is a motion, and it's for all districts. It's an AFE, Dedicated Building Services LLC, Bureau of Street Services, and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of the authority for expenditure in the amount of $1.2 million to pay for janitorial services for 7 toilets, 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and 7 toilets once a day, 7 days per week, and as-needed on-call cleanup and repair at 14 toilet sites as part of LA's public toilet program. Authorize the president or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. And before us, we have Audrey Netzawong. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Vice President, Commissioner, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. I'm Audrina Swan with the Bureau of Street Services. Before you is the request for the board's approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $1.2 million for dedicated building services LLC to provide janitorial services to the existing 14 public toilets that were installed at the end of the previous street furniture contract. In February of 2022, the City Council directed the Bureau of Street Services to replace the existing 14 toilets that were part of the Coordinated Street Furniture Program and to ensure that there's no gap in service beyond the contract term. Following the instruction, the Bureau of Street Services procured and completed the installation of 14 replacement toilets in April of this year. During construction, the Bureau secured janitorial services through Dedicated Building Services, a vendor who has a custodial service contract with the Department of General Services, to ensure that the newly installed toilets and the temporary toilets employed during construction phase were in clean and good working order. The said service agreement expired on June 30th of this year. As the city still determines the department or entity that will be responsible for the oversight of these toilets, they are still under the care of the Bureau of Street Services, and the janitorial services are continued to be required. Currently, the vendor provides cleaning services 3 times a day at 7 toilet locations and once a day cleaning services at 7 toilet locations attended by the ambassadors provided by the Pit Stop program. The vendor also provides weekly power wash and as-needed cleaning, graffiti abatement, and repair services. So we're asking for the authorization of the AFE to enable us to secure the continuing janitorial services, which are very critical in the operation of the public toilets and the public who depends on them. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item?
The funding for this item comes from where? The funding?
The CAO provides the funding.
The CAO
Yes.
provides it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and just one question, then the funding is enough?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Commissioners? All right, I'll move that we approve this item. Do we have a second? Dr. Campos, we have a motion by myself and a second by Dr. Davis. If you could please take roll call.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Audrey. All right, item number 9, and it's under communications, and this is a release of stop notice, On-Site Technical Services, Inc. On-Site Technical Services, Inc. is transmitting a release of stop notice in the amount of $2,781.31 for work done in connection with an emergency storm drain repair project. The primary contractor is Lee Construction, doing business as Abjul Construction. And is this a receive and file, Dr. Campos?
It is a receive and file. It does require a motion by your board to adopt this item.
Okay. Then we will receive, and do we have any questions? Do we take a vote?
You do take a vote, yes.
We do take a
motion.
vote. Sorry about that. All right, and we don't have a presenter on this item. And Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Dr. Davis.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. For the record, Commissioner Corzan has stepped out of the room.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. All right, and then our last item is an oral report, and this is La Gloria relocation status update. Bureau of Engineering will be reporting, and this is Mr. Uri Jimenez. Thank you. Sorry you had to wait so long.
Good morning. Thank you. Commissioner Villegas. Udi Jimenez, Bureau of Engineering, Real Estate Division. So just to back up a little bit, this is regarding the Cesar Chavez Roundabout project, which is actually going to be
Speak
constructed.
into the mic a little bit.
Sure. This is regarding the Cesar Chavez Roundabout project that is located literally half in the LA County and half of it is going to be located in the city of Los Angeles. And it's going to connect East Los Angeles with Boyle Heights. We've acquired 2 properties for this project, and we need, as a consequence of that, we're displacing 2 businesses. One of them that I'm briefing today is La Gloria. The other one is La Jolla. The La Gloria relocation that we've been talking about for a number of months is moving forward. We've, in terms of milestones that we've reached, we've gotten approval from the health department, and we're working on getting a permit from the Department of Building and Safety to retrofit the building to which La Gloria will be moving on First Street, located half a mile away, not far. But the challenges are such that we have to recondition an old building that had an existing corn operation, to which we're going to add a flour operation, which is the one that we're displacing. So there's been a lot of logistical challenges, but we're moving forward and we're getting closer every day. At this time, we're waiting for the building and safety permit, which requires some input from DWP, because it was determined that the electrical grid or switch gear that is necessary to reconnect all the machines that are going to be relocated needed to be replaced. So we needed input from DWP to do that. We've received that. And again, everything moves forward. And I wanted to introduce to you Jonathan Kwan, who's done the heavy lifting and is working day to day. And he's one of the rising stars of the Bureau of Engineering, and he'll be discussing the schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, Udi. Good morning, Board. Again, my name is Jonathan Kwan from Bureau of Engineering Real Estate Division. Thanks to the support from LADWP, we were able to reduce our timeline by 5 months. So originally, we had estimated our completion in July of 2025. That's now reduced to March 2025. Our next major milestone is procurement of the switchgear needed to reconnect the displaced equipment. Our team is currently working on shortening the estimated 15-month delay due to local resources in building the equipment that we need. So we'll continue working on that, but for now, we're very happy with our 5-month reduction in the timeline. Thank you.
I have a question. What is the overall goal in terms of our strategic plan as it relates to La Gloria? When do we anticipate that we will be complete with the oversight of the project?
We will follow the project all the way through until the new displaced machinery is reconnected and completely working at their new site.
Great. And so do you, in terms of time, give us an estimate of perhaps, would that be a year? I know you can't tell me for sure and put it in gold, but I would like to know what our anticipated timeline is currently based upon our work and observation. Do you have such a time?
Sure. Right now, we're estimating our completion in March 2025. After we obtain permits from LADBS for electrical, we'll be able to bid out contractors, and by that time, we'll have a more definite timeline that we can share.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioners, do we have any other questions? I have just a few questions. Thank you both for your reports. Just wanting to know, just the upgrade on the electrical system, will that be covered by our displacement costs?
Yes. It's part of the requirements to relocate the machinery and reconnect it. So therefore, we will cover it.
Okay, all right. And then I know we ask you this every time you're before us, Mr. Jimenez, but just wanting to see if the La Gloria business was invited to today's meeting.
Can I take that? Yeah. Yes, they were invited.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm pleased with the progress that we've been making thus far and the response also to shorten the timeline with the participation of LA Department of Water and Power.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any other questions. No, I think we're good. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Dr. Campos, does that clear the desk?
Yes.
Okay, then we're officially adjourned at 11:35, Wednesday, July 19th. Thank you.